let's talk about something that I mentioned on
Yeah.
our post game. For me, was the biggest takeaway, in my opinion. It's our running back situation, bro. Dameon Pierce. Look, I'm gonna be a little controversial. All right. Dameon Pierce is a guy that's easy to root for. He's been saying all the right things in the offseason, Omar. He's been saying that he knew, his sophomore season last season didn't go so well. He was a stud on a bad team his
Right.
rookie year. And for all intents and purposes, man, he's been saying all the right things. You slim down, looks the part,
Right.
but he hasn't produced, man. He hasn't looked good, not just in the game from what all the fans saw, but even in training camp, man. I mean, it just hasn't materialized the way that you want to see it. And then you get a
Right.
guy, you get Cam Akers, who essentially looked like he was just going to be a camp body after Joe Mixon went down with the soft tissue injury. Obviously, he's coming off of two Achilles injuries. So you're
Right.
like, is this guy even going to make the team? Is he just somebody that's here to get additional reps? But Omar, the guy looks good. Another
Yes.
guy that doesn't just look good in the game situations is excelling in training camp. D'Amico Ryans is gushing
Right.
over him, man,
Right.
saying great things in his post-game interviews and in the interviews, the press conferences about him, man. He's slippery, man. Like we say, we naming him greased up deaf guy.
Greased up deaf guy. That's right.
You can't get your hands on him. He's doing all the right things. So Omar, I'm gonna pose this question to you, bro. Do you think it's out of the realm of possibility that Cam Akers can essentially take Dameon Pierce's spot, and where would that leave Dameon Pierce?
So it's a good question, right? I think the first part of that question, I think, is absolutely plausible, right? If the numbers don't continue to show in the way that we want them to go, then, listen, we're talking about only two games of preseason, right? We're going on to our third preseason game, where the starters are going to get more reps, right?
Yep.
They played what, two series this past game. I think it was 2 series, right? So 2 series this past game. Most likely they'll end up playing the entire first quarter this next game.
I would think so, yeah.
Right. And then as we get into the last one, more than likely they'll end up playing the first half. Right. I mean, that's kind of,
well, that's why I disagree with you.
You don't think they're going to play the whole thing out?
No, the last game of the preseason. The only reason I disagree with you is because,
for the cuts.
Is because, remember, we've shortened down the preseason from what they were years past. So
that's right.
Usually the fourth game of the preseason, that last game, is when you trying to get a good eye on those guys that are fringe, right? And I think they're going to do the same thing. The Texans, especially in particular this year, because we had the extra game, so we're getting 4 preseason games,
right?
Like usual. Plus, the biggest thing, we play the Rams the last preseason game, Omar, and we're doing practice reps with them. We're practicing with them all week. So we're going to get good scrimmages. We're going to see everything that we need to see from the starters. You don't need to see it in the game. That's essentially going to be
that's a good point.
Those bubble guys. So
even still, we're still only working with 2 games worth of data for Dameon Pierce at the moment and Cam Akers. Yeah. And in this last game against Pittsburgh, 4 carries, 4 yards for Dameon Pierce. That's not going to cut it. That's not going to get it. Cam Akers got 6 touches, 17 yards. And did he? I don't think he got any receiving yards. Yeah, he did. 3 catches for 24 receiving yards.
The numbers speak for themselves.
The numbers right now are speaking for themselves, right? Now, so that answers your first question. The first question was, can he replace Dameon Pierce? I absolutely think that he can, if the numbers continue to trend the way that they're trending.
Yeah.
Now, what does that do to Dameon Pierce? Where does that leave us with Dameon Pierce?
That's the $1 million question.
The $1 million question. Now, I'm going to take
literally because
to my guy.
Because of money, right?
No, well, not only that, but my guy Dare, he ain't no slouch either. Yes. Dare in this game, 3 touches, 10 yards. So he got more yardage on less touches.
Hey, that's more. Those are more yards, Omar. That's math.
That's exactly my point, right? So, I don't know. I don't think he's. I think Dameon Pierce definitely has something to worry about with Cam Akers taking his position, right? Obviously behind Joe Mixon. But I don't what's still up in the air and what's still yet to be seen is over the next 2 games, what is Dare going to do to put himself above and beyond, a reasonable doubt that he
Look,
could
Omar,
be
I,
RB3?
I know you're not scared to say it, but I'm gonna say it. All right, cut his ass. Cut Dameon Pierce right now. All right. He had a whole season last season to prove that he could do it, and he's not proving it now. I don't think the switch is gonna flip, Omar. And like you say, you got Cam Akers out there balling. It's night and day, right? He gets the ball, he does what he needs to do with the ball. And you brought up the great point. Dare Ogunbowale not only is outshining him for that third spot, you'd be a damn fool to say, okay, Dame, we're gonna let Cam Akers, get your share, get your number 2 spot, and move you to the third spot, and cut Dare or put him on the practice squad? No, somebody gonna pick him up. No, that's Dameon Pierce spot is the number 2 running back. If he can't fill that role, guess what? You gotta go, brother.
Yeah,
you gotta go. There's just not room for you on the team. All right, because we always talk about it, Omar. The more you can do, Dare is great. It's special teams as well, not only filling that role, as the RB3. So look, like I say, I'm not scared to say it. Dameon Pierce is an easy guy to root for. We like the guy. He says the right things. He's a good guy. Hopefully he finds a landing spot. But if I'm the GM, I'm sorry, if I'm Nick Caserio, if I'm D'Amico, I'm having the conversations right now that it's time for him to go. I've seen enough. I've seen enough.
Yes. Yeah. I'm with you. And here's the other thing too. The other thing that's probably keeping him around is he's cheap at the moment. He just signed that deal, right? I mean, a couple years ago, it was like a year and a half ago or 2 years ago that they gave him that deal. 4 years, $4.5 million or something like that.
That has to be a rookie contract.
That's his rookie contract, right? So they're definitely not extending him.
No.
I mean, they're not going to re-sign him. They're not going to extend him. So what are we doing, right? He's not filling an RB2 role. He could potentially be getting outbeat by Dare for an RB3 role, and he's on a very cheap contract that we have no intentions of renewing. I mean, everything's looking like Dameon's really not going to be here. I don't think he's making a squad. I'll be honest with you.
I'm with you, bro. I would be honestly,
you've convinced me.
He's not making a squad. I would be disappointed at this point because those are the type of decisions that you have to make. Those are the tough decisions you have to make when you not only run a successful sports franchise, when you run a successful business. You can like the person all day long. You can root for him. You can be on their side. He can have an awesome personality, but at the end of the day, if they're not producing the way that you need them to, you got to go. You got to move on. You got to move on.
Yeah, I agree. 100%.